But I want to share this with you, and I want you to take it to heart, and I want you to really consider what it is that I'm saying, because we're all just fancy mammals and humans just happen to have opposable thumbs, but the same rules apply across the board. And dogs are more, I would say, physiologically similar to humans than, say, cats are. So I take a lot of cues from dogs. And I'm not a veterinarian, so I'm not giving any medical advice to your dog or to you. I'm not your doctor. This is all for educational purposes. But dogs really do have a lot of similarities because we're similar types of mammals. We're both somewhat predatory. We have very interesting, well, we're predators. Yes, we both are. Any animal that has forward set eyes is a predator. So we have forward set eyes and we have canines. I'm sorry if people don't want to hear it. Dogs, interestingly, have a white sclera around their eyes. The whites of their eyes are similar to ours, and that's why we can communicate so well. And they've done a lot of different, I wouldn't say studies, but there have been hypotheses about this going back on how dogs and humans evolved together because of the ability to hunt. The dogs could run down the prey. The humans were big enough and had the tools and spears and things to, end the prey so they could eat it. And everybody won. The dogs protected the tribe. The tribesmen fed the dogs. And that white around their eyes, it enables them to communicate. And then dogs actually have a little muscle in their eyebrow that they've developed over time, which makes them look so cute. When you see the puppy eyes, it's because it's a way of communicating with us humans, and it is endearing to our hearts. But all that to say, we also have a lot of similarities in how we process carbohydrates and our metabolic health. And if you haven't noticed, dogs' obesity levels, canine obesity levels, if you will, in the United States have skyrocketed right alongside humans. So we have a problem, and rates of type 2 diabetes have also skyrocketed right along with humans. And I want to share this story, and then I'm going to tell you some of the details, and hopefully this will be a quick and educational experience for you. I took my dog in to see the vet. I had a Chihuahua. She was a rescue. She was a little nugget. She was a little football nugget. She was one of those kind of potato-shaped Chihuahuas. Some of them are real lean and some of them are real little nuggets, little nugget-shaped ones. She looked like a tater tot. I called her my little tater tot. Her name was Coco, and she was the best. And she's no longer with us, but that little dog was near and dear to my heart. I took her into the vet, and she took one look at Coco, and she said, "That dog's going to have diabetes if she doesn't already." And I said, "I know." And why did she say that? She said that because Coco was a little tater tot. And when a dog is portly and tube shaped and they've lost their waist and you can't feel their ribs or even see their ribs at all, like you can't even palpate them, or not, I shouldn't say see, but when a dog is lean and fit, there's a shadow of ribs. The dog's headed for diabetes. That's just a well-known fact. There's no judgment. There's no, it's not fat shaming. We just know that dog's headed for diabetes. It's the same with humans. It's the same. So I wanted to share with you today some of the visual and physical exams that they do on dogs, on our canine companions, to determine their rates of obesity and if they are headed towards type 2 diabetes. I'm going to leave out the lab tests, the blood work and all that. I'm just going to go with the basics, and I'm just going to preface it with it's the same for humans. All of these things still apply. When I assess a patient or when I take a look-see at someone, I can quickly tell you the trajectory they're headed on with their metabolic health. And after this episode, hopefully you will be able to as well. And again, no judgment. This is to help you sort of have an understanding of where you're at, right? And maybe those around you that you love. So I know people get really butthurt and really emotional about this stuff, but dogs don't. Dogs don't get emotional. Dogs are just dogs, and they know what's going on with their appetite. They know if they're not getting enough movement, they behave certain ways. They start tearing up things when they're not getting enough exercise and they're not getting enough routine. If you're not consistent with them, they start acting funny. If you keep them up all night when they should be sleeping, they're not great the next day. Like, dogs just know, right? And the reason I got to thinking about this was because my dog, who I love, one of my three, she's a mutt, and she's got a breed in her that makes her tend more towards being a little bit of a potato shape. And recently I have to pick her up and put her in the truck. And then I have to help her out of the truck because she's got some bad back legs. The reason being is actually, this is important. If you spay or neuter your dog before the age of 2 years old, their risk of, especially females, their risk of developing ACL injuries is incredibly high. And so there are some organizations in the veterinary community that are starting to reevaluate their stance on this. And some are even saying, like, consider waiting until your animal's 2 years old before you spay or neuter, because you're essentially dropping them into surgical menopause. And we all know what happens. Well, maybe you guys don't, but us in the know do know what happens when you get dropped into surgical menopause. If you're a human and you have your ovaries removed and you're not offered HRT, you're in a world of hurt and trouble, in my opinion. There's a lot of risk that you're being thrust into. And I know a lot of you listening probably have been through that, and it's terrible. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but you should have been offered hormones immediately. We do that to our dogs, and then we wonder why they have so many problems. So my girl, who is potato shaped, she's in menopause. We're kind of the same age, if you will, at this point. And in dog years, she's the same age. And I went to pick her up and put her in the truck, and I couldn't lift her. I could, but man, it was a struggle. I was like, girl, you're getting a little chubby. Like, I can't be lifting you. I have to sometimes carry her up 2 flights of stairs because she has 2 ACL issues, both back legs. And I've rehabbed her and I've treated her with stem cells, and I've actually helped her quite a bit, but she sometimes has to get lifted up the stairs, and I have to pick her up to put her up on things, and I have to pick her up to take her out of things that are high up. So because she doesn't have her legs are quite spindly in comparison to her little potato shaped body, but I was like, man, she's put on some weight. So even 5 pounds is very noticeable in a dog her size. She's probably, I would say 55, 60 pounds overall in general. And she definitely chubs up a little in the winter. We all do. We get a little chubby around here because we lose our walking paths. Everything turns to mud. So we're not nearly as active. We're not outside as much because it's raining all the time. So I did buy her a treadmill. I bought a doggy treadmill. I'll report back on how that's going once we get it. It's on back order, but all the dogs I decided needed a treadmill. So I bought the dogs a treadmill because I do firmly believe, I've been researching this, that they are going to have a significant length in their life and their quality of life if they actually get in the mileage every day that they need to get, which is miles and miles and miles. Like, dogs should be running miles and miles and miles a day.